you hearing from your high-end clients with money in the market as they look toward retirement? How are they approaching that in terms of their own financial management?
Well, it's a very interesting question because there's two aspects to that. Number one, it's the point you just made. People don't use the word retirement anymore. When I talk to, whether they're friends, whether they're colleagues, whether they're clients, people talk about the next phase, the next challenge, the next leg of the journey. They don't say the next, and the hammock is not part of that. So people are clearly want to stay engaged. You think about the baby boomers. They've grown up working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. It's who they are, it's what they do.
They're not going to turn that off.
They're not going to turn. That's a DNA thing.
Right.
It doesn't. There's no switch, right? You look for it, but it's not there. So number one, there's a very different mindset. So some people maybe they'll stop doing what they're doing now. Some are going to start new businesses. A lot are going to go into nonprofit, but they're going to do stuff. That's number one. Number two, there was an interesting thing. The survey we did last year, again, non-U.S. trust clients, a big percentage, over 50%, said that they did not consider leaving money to their children as a high priority. And people were shocked by that, like, oh my God, right?
I didn't hear that. That's interesting.
And people said to us, well, what do you make of that? And I said, the question was, are they that negative on their children or heirs that? And I said, could be, but it's more than that. I said, they're not thinking that way. Again, think of someone in their early 50s. They're going to most likely live until they're 80-something.
If not 100.
Right? Who knows?
We're living
with
till
medical
100.
Technology, to your point earlier. And they're thinking of another 30, 35 years of life. And that next leg or legs of these journeys they're about to take. And they want to make sure, number one, they have the wherewithal to do whatever it is they want to do in that regard. And oh, by the way, have some fun. Because they are going to travel more. They are going to get more leisure time, but not 100%. So I think that the dynamic we saw last year was more the mindset of the baby boomer versus saying, my kids are going to squander it and they don't deserve it. But the other thing is, so I think they're thinking about that money in that context. What I worry about, though, and we see this again in the survey we did, what they're not thinking enough about are things like their own personal longevity. Right? They're not thinking, they are, but they're not. They're not really translating it in terms of what that now means in terms of the resources that they will chew up over those many years, hopefully for them. That's one. The other thing is they're not thinking about things like long-term care costs. We think that's the silent threat to family wealth. And what's interesting is...
People don't realize how expensive it is.
Oh my goodness. And it's not only their own, but increasingly the needs of parents, the needs of adult children.
You're the sandwich generation. You're taking care of your parents and you're taking care of your kids.
And in some cases, you're taking care of siblings who maybe weren't as successful as you. So you've got siblings, parents, adult children, maybe broken marriages, whatever's leading to it. So you've got all of those individuals in addition to your own issues from long-term care. And people are already today spending money to help parents, to help siblings, to help other adult children. And yet those same people, they're watching the movie begin to play. 2/3 of them have not built long-term care costs, either their own or their families, into their financial plans. So they're dramatically exposed. And I'm worried that that's indicative of a broader populace of wealthy out there who are still too narrowly focused on, am I getting that return I need to get, want to get, and not thinking about the bigger picture, which could be even more profoundly impactful. You think about it, I mean, long-term care costs versus another 50 or 100 basis points on an investment portfolio. And the other thing which is interesting too is that same group also, 72% did not have a comprehensive estate plan. And you think, how could these folks, they're smart, they're successful, they have wealth. Again, I think they don't think of their own mortality, number one, because again, it's the I'm going to live forever generation, so that's part of the problem. But 72%. And many of them are not using, as a result, tools like trusts. They're misunderstood, they're underutilized. And you say, well, why not? Two answers, which are kind of scary. One, procrastination. And in many cases, the people who are responding these aren't young people. Well, I'm busy, I haven't gotten to it. And the second is a belief, which is even scarier, that their basic will take care of whatever it is they think they need to do.
Right.
And so there's a lot of disconnects out there, and I think it's reflective of individuals not thinking the right way, but also I think it's an implication of the advisors that they're using not having the right dialogue and the right conversation to say, Maria, we got to really sit down and talk about your estate plan, talk about long-term care costs, talk about the fact you're taking care of your parents already and it's going to get more costly as time goes on, and we need to build that in to protect you and make sure you have the wherewithal to do that and not wake up in 20 years and this nest egg you thought you had is no longer a nest egg.